Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnanashalakai Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Tadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकाल जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं गायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम्. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, verse number 57 onwards. Mrishta Chatvara Rathyata Margam Chandana Charchitam Lajakshate Pushpa Phalay Andolair Bali Bheryutam Mrishta Chatvara Rathyata Margam Chandana Charchitam Lajakshate Pushpa Phalay Adolair Bali Bheryutam Nishta Chatvara Rathyata Margam Chandana Charchitam Lajakshate Pushpa Phalay Tandolay Bali Bherayutam Nishta Chatvara Rathyata Margam Chandana Charchitam Rajakshate Pushpa Phalay Tandolay Bali Bherayutam Nishta Chatvara Rathyata Margam Chandana Charchitam Rajakshate Pushpa Phalay Tandolay Bali Bherayutam Mishta, fully cleansed. Chatvara, quadrangles. Rathya, highways. Atta, raised sitting places. Margam, lanes. Chandana, with sandalwood. Charachitam, sprinkled. Large, with fried rice. Akshatay, and barley. Pushpa, with flowers. Halay, and fruits. Tandolay, with rice. Balibhi, auspicious presentations. Yutam, provided with. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All the quadrangles
lanes and streets in the city, and the raised sitting places at the crossings were thoroughly cleansed and sprinkled with sandalwood water. And auspicious grains such as rice and barley and flowers, fruits, and many other auspicious presentations were scattered all over the city. So this is actually the entrance of Maharaj Dhruva. He's coming back after attaining Lord Vishnu. And then there's a description of what was done to receive him. How old was he? 5 years. 5.5 years now. And we'll also see a description of the palace of Maharaj Dhruva and the environment there through the medium of Bhagavatam. See, we can go back to Satya Yoga now and then envision what was happening when Dhruva Maharaj was going, and how the houses were like, how the rooms were like, how the beds were like, all the description we can get a glimpse of. Sandalwood water and everything was thrown on the ground. So that was like opulence of city. Now, if you see the cleanliness is more like just some blowers, like that, right? Uh, that time it was like throwing such articles and sandalwood water and fruits, and the fruits are thrown on the city everywhere. Fruits, flowers. That's the opulence of the city. Dhruvaya pratishtaya tat. I think read so that we'll say that. Dhruvaya patitishtaya tatra tatra pura striya. So you all can read together. You have to go the screen down. Huh? Dhruvaya patitishtaya tatra tatra pura सिद्धार्थाक्षतदत्यम्बो दूर्वा पुष्पाफलानि च उपजालो प्रयुञ्जाना वात्सल्यादशिषा सति शृण्वं तद्वल्गुगीतानि प्राविशद्भवनं पितु. Thus, as Dhruva Maharaj passed on the road from every place in the neighborhood, all the gentle household ladies assembled to see him. As he was walking, everybody came, and out of maternal affection, they offered their blessings, showering him with white mustard seeds, barley, curd, water, newly grown grass, fruits, and flowers. How do you understand they are showering water and curd? But they're showering all these auspicious articles. Newly grown grass, fruits, and flowers. In this way, Dhruva Maharaj, while hearing the pleasing songs sung by the ladies, entered the palace of his father. So he was walking and how he was received by all the residents. And this also shows how the devotee of the Lord is always glorified. Such a devotee of the Lord. The vision of a devotee of the Lord pleases everybody actually. Just by seeing a devotee. Next one. Mahamani Vratamaye Sa together. Mahamani Vratamaye Sa Tashmin Bhavanottame Latito Nitaram Vidra Nyavasanti Videvavat. Ah, yes. Dhruva Maharaj thereafter Dhruva Maharaj thereafter lived in his father's palace, which had walls bedecked with highly valuable jewels. You see, nowadays the walls are bedecked with whitewash, but we see in Satya Yoga, um, in his own palace, the walls were bedecked with highly valuable jewels. And this is also actually the description of Krishna's planet, Krishna's room, the houses in Goloka, even the banks of the the what do we say? The sarovars and kundas. Everything was bedecked with highly valuable jewels. His affectionate father took particular care of him. And he dwelled in that house just as the demigods live in their palaces in the higher planetary system. पयाफेना निभासय्या दान्तारुक्मा परिच्छदा आसनानि महाराणी यत्र रौक्मा उपस्करा. The bedding in the place was as white as the foam of milk and was very soft. It is described even Krishna's bed, like as foam as the bedsteads were made of ivory and embellishments of gold, and the chairs, benches, and other sitting places and furniture were made of gold. Everything was made. यत्र स्फटिका कुड्येषु महामारकटेषु च मणिप्रदीपा आभान्ति ललनारत्नसंयुता. The palace of the king was surrounded by walls made of marble, with many engravings made of valuable jewels like sapphires, which depicted beautiful women with shining jewel lamps in their hands. See that? So the walls are made of marble and it was bedecked with jewels, and the jewels were in shape of a woman holding a lamp. This is how, and they are sapphires. Sapphires I think are green. So in a white, there is a green statue of a lady holding a jewel. That's how the walls were designed. All the chairs, beds, everything is made of gold. There were marbles everywhere. This is like the palace of Maharaj Dhruva. But Maharaj Dhruva, of course, was not attracted to it because he had experienced the Lord within his purport. The description of King Uttanapat's palace depicts the state of affairs many hundreds and thousands of years ago, long before Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled. Since it is described that Maharaj Dhruva ruled for 36,000 years, he must have lived in the Satya Yuga when people lived for 100,000 years. The life durations in the four yugas are also mentioned in the Vedic literature. In the Satya Yuga, people used to live for 100,000 years. In the Treta Yuga, people lived for 10,000 years. In Dwapar Yuga, they lived for 1,000 years. And in this age, Kali Yuga, people may live up to 100 years. With the progressive advance of each new yuga, the duration of human life is reduced by 90%, from 100,000 to 10,000, from 10,000 to 1,000, and from 1,000 to 100. It is said that Dhruva Maharaj was the great grandson of Lord Brahma. So Brahma's son was Manu. Manu's son was Uttanapat. Uttanapat's son was Dhruva. This indicates that Dhruva Maharaj's time was in the Satya Yuga, in the beginning of creation. During one day of Lord Brahma, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, there are many Satya Yugas. There are actually 1,000 Satya Yugas. According to Vedic calculation, at the present moment, the 28th millennium is correct. Uh, it can be calculated that Dhruva Maharaj lived many millions of years ago. But the description of the palace of Dhruva's father is so glorious that we cannot accept that advanced human civilization did not exist even 40 or 50,000 years ago. There were walls like those in the palace of Mahajotanapad even very recently during the Mughal period. Anyone who has seen the Red Fort in Delhi must have marked that the walls are made of marble and were once decorated with jewels. Anybody been to Red Fort? You have been? So Prabhupada says if you go there, the walls are made up of marble, and I think jewels are taken out from that. Taj Mahal also made of marble. Even the walls, red marble. During the British period, all these jewels were taken away and dispatched to the British Museum. The conception of worldly opulence was formerly based mainly on natural resources, such as jewels, marble, silk, ivory, gold, and silver. The advancement of economic development was not based on big motor cars. Advancement of human civilization depend not on industrial enterprises, but on possession of natural wealth and natural food, which is all supplied by Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that we may save time for self-realization and success in the human form of body. Another aspect of this verse is that Dhruv Maharaj's father, Uttanapad, would very soon give up attachment for his palaces and would go to the forest for self-realization. From the description of Srimad Bhagavatam, therefore, we can make a very thorough comparative study of modern civilization and the civilization of mankind in other millennium, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga. So here we can see Prabhupada is mentioning, we may say that the material civilization is advancing, but if we see the description from previous civilization is like way more advanced. And previously it was more natural, now it is more artificial. Even if you see the flooring is tiles or like all are like manufactured man-made products. But uh, wooden, vinyl, everything is like look like that. But previously it was all natural. Wood, gold, silver. Then Srila Prabhupada also mentions Maharaj Uttanapad. Um, he, when he saw, this is one thing, Dhruv Maharaj was only 5.5 years old. But when he saw Dhruv Maharaj, in other verses also it comes, Maharaj Udanapat felt like Dhruv Maharaj is very mature to take care of the kingdom. That shows that maturity is actually not fully dependent upon the age. One may be one may be 50 years old and may be very immature, and one may be 15, 16 years old and can be very mature. Actually, it is dependent on the mode of goodness also. Mode of passion makes us restless, which is again a sign of immaturity. So Uttanapad Maharaj, when he saw Dhruv Maharaj at such a young age, Uttanapad Maharaj enthroned him into the king, and Maharaj Uttanapad went to the forest for performing self-realization. It is also mentioned how Maharaj Uttanapad, when he saw Dhruva Maharaj um, was very attractive. His activities, his devotion. Actually, if we see a pure devotee, very attractive. Think of we see our spiritual masters, or we see even a picture, or we see Srila Prabhupada, or we see these pure devotees. Immediately there is divinity. There is divinity. Just like how the deity of Krishna carries divinity. Whenever you come, like for us it's normal in a way because we do all the time, but some new people come to temple, they are coming from a disturbed mind. The moment they enter, they see the Lord. Wow, this is so divine. um, um, One time I took our small Gonvita deities in a program, and one person came and he saw the deities. He just looked at the deities for 3 4 minutes, and he was like, I feel so peaceful just by seeing them. So the deity of the Lord carries a divinity. You go, like many of you have deities or you go and dress the deities. How does it feel? At least at that point of time, we are like absorbed because it is that they carry a spiritual divinity. Um, and some, yeah. Anyways, so just like how deities carry a divinity around them, pure devotees also carry a divinity around. And that's why it is said just by seeing a pure devotee, first thing we feel peaceful, we feel joyful. This is actually Krishna and what they carry. That's why it is also said that the bodies of pure devotees is not considered material. And it's a proof. You see them and you feel divinity. If you feel divinity by seeing them, obviously the body is divine. You're seeing the body only. So because anything engaged in the service of the Lord becomes divine. So Tanapad Maharaj was very inspired by Dhruva Maharaj. Previously, he was very attached to his wife, but then association of Dhruva Maharaj, I also want to attain. And then when he gave that responsibility to Dhruva Maharaj, he left. He went to the forest to perform a severe austerity. This is also the um, the power of setting up a good example, or um, um, yeah. Um, Also, we see how devotee association, devotee association can take away our material desire. So Tanapal Maharaj actually was very attached, but then Dhruva's association and he could leave. If we go back to our own beginning years in our Krishna consciousness, we all may have many attachments. Even Nikun Bihari Prabhu like look like milk flowing from his it's of sattva. But if we see, we may have some habits, but then devotee association that gives us the strength to say no to things that we are not able to say no by others. And here we see Uttanapad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj association. And he was so inspired that he could just say no and then he left. Also, another thing we can see that um, our our happiness does not come from opulence. Um, I think last time I was mentioning this. I don't remember if I was saying this here or not. One of the disciple of Kalakanta Prabhu, he asked Kalakanta Prabhu, how can, like in general, he was asking, how can people in Grahastha ashram, he was asking, how can they, what is a pitfall in that ashram? I mean, every ashram has some pitfalls. No? Brahmachari ashram has so many pitfalls. Grahastha ashram also has pitfalls. So he asked, how does Grahastha ashram, what are the pitfalls in it? And Kalakanta Prabhu says, or how can they not fall into pitfalls and keep Krishna or become Krishna, attain perfection? So Kalakanta Prabhu says by keeping Krishna in the center. He says the pitfall in the ashram is the desire for economic development. Everybody, it's like that desire may be very strong, for, and then it economic development desire may consume one's life. Like I don't know how many hours and hours just for economic development, and then that can take one away from us. Likewise, every ashram has now. So keeping the Lord in the center of everything we do, that requires certain discrimination, that what I'm doing, where I'm running for, how much value, how much artha in that, how much value in that spiritually, and how much can I keep Krishna in the center of everything I do. Any thoughts? Mm. 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 Yeah. Everything natural takes us towards goodness. Everything unnatural has a reaction. Like now, if you see the advancement is very much unnatural. Even televisions, mobile phones, laptops, electricity, uh, everything is in a way, or like GMO food, everything is unnatural now. Even what we eat, what we see, everything, and the whole environment becomes surcharged with passion. That that has that potency. But previously, everything was natural actually, and like very sattvic, everything. It was very easy when there was no electricity and when to keep the Lord in the same. Very less distractions actually. But now with we what the our civilization call advancement, so much degradation with that, and we are victim of that actually. Now, but we are now trying to turn to the original serene civilization. You know, what are the thoughts? Mm. Mm. When Krishna came, yeah, it was original, natural. Even in spiritual world, it is described everything is very opulent. But the opulent does not loses its sweetness. The opulence of nature maintains the sweetness also, in a way. The opulence of nature. Right now, the opulence is more artificial. It's yeah. Maintain sweetness there. Like in Goloka, it's very opulent actually. But at the same time, it maintains the sweetness of the nature, the way they dress, everything is like still very sweet, although it's opulent. Previously, time was much more favorable. Like I remember one time I went to like I mean when I was small, um, when we used to go to our village. In our village, there was no electricity. You all remember the time when there was no electricity? Only certain villages have electricity, certain villages don't have electricity. You have to sleep by 7:38. Have to get up at 3. Why? How much can you sleep? And then after that, if you want to stay awake, candles. Everything was everything was very divine actually. Everybody will get up early in the morning. Even if they're not God conscious, they're close to nature. They'll work in the farms. Actually, there's a lot of joy in that collective civilization. It just you naturally. One time I was in Vrindavan. One devotee took us to there is a gaon. It's it's called Mukharai. Mukharai is um, it's close to Govardhan, Mukharai, and that is the place of Radharani's grandmother. Her name is Mukharai. So in that village, one devotee knew, so we went there. So they received us and they served. They said, "Probably prasad leke jaiye." So we were like, if we get some prasad in Rajvasi, so who can say no? So we sat down. Their prasad was Vraj roti and gud. It was divine, Prabhu. It was with original ghee, original gud, original chapati. So everything there, and then they all will sit on the takat with, you know, nowadays the civilization is so-called very modern, but takes us away from goodness. But everything when it was natural, na, even though there is opulence, it is still very attractive and very divine. Nowadays, things are becoming more and more artificial. That takes us away from God consciousness. But natural paradigm, everyone is a devotee actually. Previously, everybody was a devotee. Like grandparents before. Now civilization is, see today's children, how much they are interested in God consciousness. See, full distraction actually, full distraction. That's because we are going away from nature in the name of material civilization. So here, and those opulence will not distract them. Here we see Uttanapad Maharaj could leave everything and go because they are close to nature. No? Going to nature is like fine with them, like natural with them. But artificial opulence kind of takes us towards sin. You know, that's how they are. Okay. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts? Behind the you know Maharashtra way of taking there. They were just walking, and then he just ran there and stepped, pretty stream of water behind the house. Then he signature, slowly eyes and this is awesome. House that you build is not an option. Maybe you will think like that. What he was sitting right next to the water, no distraction, is awesome. And you can see how devotees appreciate things also. Not that the house. Yeah. The environment, everything was very sattvic, very close. Okay. Would you want to say something? Okay. So we'll end on the Zoom also. Thank you for joining, Janatan.